Well, hello and welcome to this Epic Universe construction update. There's lots of news coming out about the food coming to Epic Universe, and potentially team member previews may be starting toward the end of this month, and construction is soon to be handed off to park operations, which is very exciting. But before any of that happens, or may happen, there are lots of progress to check out in and around Epic Universe. But before we do that, for those that are somehow unaware, Epic Universe is a brand new theme park coming to Universal Studios Florida, and is currently set to open May 22nd of this year. Epic Universe is located just a few miles south of Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure in Orlando, Florida. This new theme park will include brand new lands themed to How to Train Your Dragon, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, Universal Monsters, Celestial Park, and my personal favorite, Super Nintendo World. So let's not waste any time and dive right into today's update by heading over into the Dark Universe. Over at the entrance portal to the Dark Universe, we can see that the phrase on top of the portal is visible, and it says, "It's alive, it's alive." And looking past the entrance portal, we can see fog coming from the well in the center of Darkmoor Village. And we do know there are other fog elements in this area of Darkmoor Village, which will give a very ominous feel, especially at night with all the trees and the lighting elements in this area. In the entrance walkway, we can see some Universal team members getting a tour of the land as well. And here we can see another update of the tombstones that line the walkways. And we can even see what looks like a broken coffin at the top here. Now, I mentioned at the beginning that there may be team member previews that will happen at the end of the month. It definitely seems there is something going on with team members in terms of tours of Epic Universe in some parts of it. This is likely some higher ups versus actual on-the-ground team members, but we are seeing the beginning stages of some sort of previews happening in Epic Universe. And we can see at Das Steakhouse some signage that probably points to some sort of previews going on with probably food testing or other elements. Now, we do know from Universal that there are going to be roaming violin players, singers, and other characters in Dark Universe, and here we can see several violin players practicing here in the land. Now, this likely indicates the rumors of team member and annual pass holder previews starting very soon as likely a true thing if they're in the land now and currently practicing. And given that much of this land and other lands in Epic Universe are wrapping up their construction, there is a ton of progress to check out, but we can see the picture of the Frankenstein Manor where the Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein Experiment ride is. We can see the standby and express signs have been installed at the entrance of the ride. And Universal hasn't said whether or not Express Pass is going to be available at Epic Universe, at least from the start, but I wouldn't be surprised and would actually expect to see Express Pass be available just from a potential revenue and demand standpoint, as Express Pass would likely sell out given the demand. And we can see the queue pathway into the Frankenstein Manor now has lights along it as well. We can also see in the queue path there is a divider for the standby and express path lanes here, further leading me to believe that there is going to be Express Pass when this park opens, because if they weren't going to offer it, I don't believe they'd already have up these dividers, but again, that's just me speculating. We can also see in the left window there seems to be a purple light that can be seen during the daytime here. And over at the Curse of the Werewolf roller coaster, we can see more of the safety netting frames have been installed, but so far the netting has not yet been installed here. All right, that's going to be it over in the Dark Universe. Let's head over into the Wizarding World of Harry Potter Ministry of Magic to check out the progress in this land. Over at the entrance portal, we can now see the quote for the entrance portal is visible, and in this shot is still being worked on, and it says, "For in dreams we make a world that is entirely our own." And we can also see on the entrance portal there are different types of wands that can be seen as well. And you know that construction is starting to wrap up when you start seeing things like trash cans being installed. And here we can see trash cans that have started popping up throughout the land. And this one still being wrapped in plastic, as well as some of the other ones in this land. And this one here is between two benches. And this corner of the Wizarding World gives us a glimpse of many of the streets of 1920s Paris with a finished building facade, street lights, benches, and trash cans. And on this corner, we can see posters have been posted on a light post, and likely to see more of these posters be put up here as well. And here on the corner, we can see the Quidditch store and other facades and signs are now completed and ready to go in this area. And we can see what is likely more team member previews here in the Ministry of Magic. And one giveaway that there are some sort of previews is that hard hats are not being required, which means either major construction is done or at least on pause during some of these previews. And we saw in a previous update that the sign for the stage show in the land had started being constructed, and now we can see the sign looks like it is fully installed, although we cannot see it from the front in this picture. And here we have a butterbeer cart that is just about ready to serve guests here in the land. And there really isn't much else to update here in the land, as this land is likely done or very close to being done, as it's been further along than some of the other lands in Epic Universe. But here are some of the facades that you can see and what they look like right now. And outside of the Battle at the Ministry, we can see some of the ride vehicles that are out here, partially uncovered, where guests can try them out before entering into the ride queue. Well, that's going to be it over here in the Ministry of Magic. Let's head over into Super Nintendo World to check out some of the progress in this land. Over at the entrance area for Super Nintendo World, it looks like all the icons and decorative elements above have all been installed. Looking closer at the entrance portal, we can see it looks complete, and the phrase "Here we go" is now visible for guests as they walk into the portal. And further into the Mushroom Kingdom, it looks like Peach's castle is either done or very close to being completed, as it looks like all of the pink coloring has been done here. And Peach's gazebo, which is right next to the castle where Peach will greet guests, has been painted, and it also looks complete. And on the staircase in front of Peach's castle that will take guests down to the lower level has Nintendo stars and the railings that we can see here. And over at Bowser's Fortress, things are wrapping up here as well, but the red carpet and the walkway to the Mario Kart ride has been removed, likely temporarily, as that is going to be a part of the entrance area of this ride. The 1UP factory signage is fully installed here, while there is either still work or cleanup left to do on the green warp entrance pipe in front of it. And over at the Yoshi Adventure sign, we can see the Yoshi egg is back, and that work is still ongoing on the signage here. And here's a good look at the character meet and greet area that is near Yoshi's Adventure that looks complete, or at least close to it. And jumping over to Donkey Kong Country, we have a fantastic look at the Donkey Kong face waterfall effects that are now fully running and testing. And we can see the waterfall effect ends near the entrance of Minecart Madness, as the whole area is definitely coming together nicely. And the other water feature at the splashdown area of Minecart Madness has been running and testing a little longer and is fully operating as well. And speaking of the splashdown area of Minecart Madness, here's a great look at that part of the ride where the effect happens. Now, as most of you probably know now, the ride track is actually on the side, so guests will have the illusion of jumping gaps in the track, going into water, and other exciting elements. And the Kong Treehouse is complete, or looks to be complete, and we can see next to the Donkey Kong Treehouse, the Bubbly Barrel snack stand has its sign installed. And over at Funky's Flying By, we can see more progress on the themed walkways, and the backdrop theming has made some more progress over here as well. But like most of the other lands in Epic Universe, this one also is wrapping up, so there isn't a ton of things to notice since our last update, as this land is likely ready for pass holder and team member previews. All right, that's it over here in Super Nintendo World. Let's jump over to the How to Train Your Dragon Isle of Berk to check out the progress over here. At the entrance portal to the land, we can see the portal is almost complete, and the portal slogan can be seen, which says, "We, my friends, have dragons." And at the bay in the land that will greet guests as they enter, we can see there is water back in the bay, and this is going to be such a great view as guests do enter the land here, as you have hiccuped wing gliders diving into the water, and the statues in the water will have flames coming out of them, and other kinetic elements will be going on as guests enter here. And at night, this area looks even better, as the lighting looks like torches, and I have to say I'm very excited about just about every area of Epic Universe and what it will look like at night, because I do feel like it's going to take on a very unique feel at night in each land of Epic Universe. And here's what the lanterns look like during the daytime. And speaking of Hiccup's wing gliders, here's a great view of some of the ride testing as it's coming out of one of the launches here. And here's also a great look at what is likely the finished product of Hiccup's wing gliders in the main ride building here. Now, for the longest time, Dragon Racers Rally was in the same place in terms of completion, but now with the queue areas and coverings being installed, we can see this whole ride area is coming together quickly in the last few weeks. Now, the ride itself has been undergoing ride testing for months, but now that we can see the queue areas here, it definitely adds some shape and a little bit of organization to this entire area. And outside of Dragon Racers Rally, we can see the theming of the walkways are ongoing, We can also see the ride signage, including the Express Pass sign for Dragon Racers Rally, has been installed. And you know construction is winding down when we start seeing Coca-Cola Freestyle machines being installed, and here we can see some of those installed over at the Grog and Gruel. And we saw in the previous update, these robotic dragon tails were being installed, and now they have skin over them, so these will be moving at various increments throughout the day and night here. And over at Mead Hall, things look like they are just about wrapped up and complete, and we can also see the menu board is installed at the front. Now, some had commented wondering if the wheelchair ramp access was wide enough, and we can see the workers next to it for some scale here. Now, to me, this looks like a regular size ramp from what I can tell, but be sure to let us know in the comments, what do you think about this? The fountain in the village looks like it is done, with some work still ongoing on the ground around it. And over at the family boat ride fire drill, things look like they are wrapping up here as well. Lots of energy on this ride with moving targets, splash elements where people can shoot out and people can shoot in at people on the ride. We can also see the ride wait times and ride warnings have been installed for fire drill also. And the outdoor seating area for Spitfire Grill, which is a large Viking ship, is probably the thing that is still needing the most work in the land, and it is currently still being worked on. Now here's a close-up of some sheep, which appear to be animatronic, so they will move much like many of the dragon elements in the land as well. And over at the Viking training camp, which is the kids' play area of the land, there is a lot of progress being made here with more canopy covers and other play elements being installed and completed. Well, that's it over here in the Isle of Berk. Let's head over into Celestial Park to check out the progress in the park's center land. Now, Celestial Park is probably the land that is behind the most compared to all the other areas of Epic Universe, but from what I've heard and the likely rumor that team member previews will be starting by the end of the month, and then annual pass holder previews will begin shortly after that, sometime in March, as construction on the park will be. And also over here at Stardust Racers, we see some of the lighting elements that will be visible on the Comet here, done at night while previews happen during the day. So it's likely whatever left to do in Celestial Park will wrap up during the nighttime construction during the previews. Now, near Constellation Carousel, we can see the landscaping of the new berm is still ongoing. And we're still not sure why the previous berm was torn down, but it does seem like it's rather inconsequential and will likely just serve as an area for those on the carousel to be able to look out and perhaps block some sight lines while on the carousel. And overall, Constellation Carousel is looking great, and we can see there's lots of work going on around it, and the signage for the ride can be seen behind the crane in this shot, having work done to it as well. And in this view, we can see one of the best looks we've had at the figurines that the guests will ride on Constellation Carousel, as work happens at night on this ride. And over at Stardust Racers, this is a close-up of the landscaping work in this area with some silver orbs and some sort of what looks like circular objects in the landscaping as well. And here in this clip, we have a great view of some nighttime testing of Stardust Racers and what seems to be an updated lighting package on the ride as well that we can check out. And looking at one of the most updated views of Celestial Park, we can see the landscaping has come a long ways, and once water is flowing in the waterways and some cleanup goes on in this area, I do think this will all wrap up rather quickly compared to how it looks right now. And over at Pizza Moon, we can see some pizza-themed decorations have been installed around the building. And outside of Pizza Moon, there is more landscaping that has popped up, as well as some pizza-themed landscaping and an outdoor seating area that is likely to be here as well. And lots of final touches can be seen being installed all throughout Epic, and one of those final touches is lots of signage that has been installed throughout Celestial Park. And here we can see the Celeste Tiki sign has been installed on top of this bar. And another sign has been installed in Celestial Park, and this one on Frosty Moon, which is the dessert stand right next to Celeste Tiki Bar. And another sign that construction is well on its way to being completed is alongside Frosty Moon. We can see some more Coca-Cola Freestyle machines that have been installed. And I'm probably the only person out there who loves these machines for the Fanta free grape, as I like Diet Grape Soda. as it's the best. We can also count the Starbucks location as another place that has its sign installed, and it's actually operating now as it's serving Starbucks for the construction team and team members on the construction grounds. So it should be the most ready to go area of Epic Universe once the park opens. Another sign that has been installed is the Zenith Bar sign, which is the outdoor bar for Oak and Tavern. Now, we did see in a recent update the sign for the bar was being prepped on the ground and now being installed, so has moved rather quickly. And some restroom signage is also up for the restrooms in the center of the park here. And the Blue Dragon Pan Asian restaurant is making progress as the walkway in front of it has been poured, and preparations for the large dragon statue that will be out front are currently being made. Now, a cool element that can just be recently spotted here in Celestial Park is in-ground lighting effects that can be seen at various parts of Celestial Park. Now, one can only hope that the lighting elements here make it past the dastardly power washing that have done in other certain parks in-ground lighting effects. Not sure which one I'm talking about there.
Number 1, how dare you?
So here's to these lasting more than a couple of months without having some issues. And over at the base of the Helios Grand Hotel, we can see there's progress being made on the Helios statue as some gold has been added to the head of the statue here. And also near Helios, we can see some of the landscaping and overall progress of this area as it is not far off of being done. And once we have water flowing through here, again, I think this is all going to look much closer to being completed than perhaps it currently does. And jumping over to the entrance portal to Epic Universe, which is called the Kronos, it looks just about done as work around it continues, and looking into Luna Overlook, we can see it's looking just about complete as well. And looking closer at the entrance Kronos, we can see the portal wording is now installed and says, "Beyond this gate, find gardens green and epic worlds to fill your dreams."
Beautiful.
And here's the current status of the entrance plaza as most of this area looks just about complete. And the Luna Overlook is looking just about complete also, as well as the Luna statue is just about done, and water will be added to the waterways here very soon. All right, that's going to do it for Celestial Park, but before we wrap up here, let's check out some of the roadways around Epic Universe to check on the progress there. And here we can see the Helios Grand Hotel road sign has been installed. And here is another great look at the Terra Luna Hotel sign that looks about just like the Stella Nova one. And Terra Luna opens up in just about a month from now in March. And the raised traffic circle part of the road construction is wrapping up, as it should be open in time to help with the traffic for the annual pass holder previews for Epic Universe, and likely by the time Terra Luna opens up as well. Now, we do know some of the buses for Stella Nova have been using the bus-only lanes on the raised traffic circle. And here's a great look at some of the new electric buses for Epic Universe that have some Epic Universe wrapping on them. And here we can also see there is now a Universal team member parking sign on Sand Lake Road for Epic Universe team members. Well, that's going to do it for this Epic Universe construction update. Now, if you would like to see some of the Epic Universe food previews that were released earlier this week, you can check out the video linked above where I do cover that. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel before you go, as around here we cover Universal Studios, Epic Universe, Disney World, and pop culture. And also here at Capture the Magic, we have informational videos to help you have the best time in heading to Universal Studios and or Disney World. And if you want even more Universal Studios and Disney World information, you can check out the Capture the Magic podcast, where we share tips, reviews, money-saving strategies, and more. You can find the podcast where we listen to podcasts, and also here on YouTube over at CTM Podcast. So given we are seeing a lot of the express signs up for many of the rides in Epic Universe, and we also are seeing some dividing elements of ride queues, like over at Frankenstein Manor, dividing express lines from the standby queue, do you think that Universal is going to offer Express Pass for Epic Universe upon park opening? I personally think I'm leaning toward them offering Express Pass, but let me know what you think. And until next time, we will see you in the parks.